Julia Summers. I'm the Executive Director of the New Jersey Highlands Coalition. And while I'm not going to talk about the Highlands right now, anybody who has questions about the Highlands, you're very welcome to ask me those questions when we go to the Q&A part of this program. I actually want to share with you information that I learned recently from a friend who until recently worked at the Environmental Protection Agency and is very concerned about the impacts that the federal budget may have on our NJDEP, our Department of Environmental Protection. New Jersey has the potential to be one of the hardest hit states by the budget that President Trump is proposing for fiscal year 2018, which will include a 31% cut to the Environmental Protection Agency, including impacting 3,800 full-time employees, or 20% of the agency's workforce. So the DEP's budget this year, 2017, totals $648 million. The proposed budget for 2018 is proposed to come in, now this is Governor Christie's budget, but it includes a lot of EPA federal funding. The proposed budget is proposed to come in at $637 million. So before the federal budget even begins to impact, we're already $11 million behind this year. So there are a few programs that impact New Jersey, which will see likely, possibly, a slight increase, just a couple, in the President's proposed budget, including Clean Water State Revolving Funds and the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. So those are important, and I think probably they need a lot more money than that. But compare that to the programs that will be eliminated. We're not talking about a 20% cut or a 30% cut, eliminated in this budget for 2018. Some of those include, that will impact New Jersey, the Section 319, this is the Clean Water Act funding for technical assistance, financial assistance, monitoring, training, and education. It's the non-point source pollution funds. Nationally, the total for this program was $165 million. For New Jersey, right now, we're receiving $2.7 million. That will be gone. The National Estuary Program, there are 28 of these programs nationwide that receive $600,000 each. And New Jersey, surprise, we're a coastal state. New Jersey has 3 of these estuary programs. The New York-New Jersey Harbor Estuary, Barnegat Bay, and the Partnership for the Delaware Estuary. Gone. The pollution prevention grants. Well, most recently I know that in 2016, New Jersey received $179,000, which went to Rowan University and the College of New Jersey. Gone. Underground storage tanks. In 2016, the DEP received $972,000, nearly $1 million from EPA, to help us address leaking underground storage tanks, to try and figure out what tanks are leaking, what we can do to detect that, and what we can do to prevent it. Gone. Radon. Oh, well, leaking underground storage, the funding for underground storage tanks for inspections and enforcement. In 2016, we received $1.3 million. That's also completely gone. The gentleman to my right, your left, can talk to you ad nauseum, I'm certain, about the problems that leaking underground tanks create for our water supply, our groundwater. Radon funding, that will be gone. Environmental justice. This program nationally receives $7.3 million and has 40 staff slots. Region 2, which is our region out of New York, has 4 full-time staff people working to focus efforts and assistance on urban areas, including Newark and Camden. The environmental justice program nationally will be completely eliminated. Multi-purpose grants, which allow the states to focus on priorities and fund implementation activities. Those are programs that DEP received some funding through. Those will be gone. The lead risk reduction funding for training and certification for removal of lead-based paint. In New Jersey, the Department of Health in 2016 received $261,000. Gone. Here's something that people, I think, in New Jersey, as the weather is heating up, when I arrived today, it was over 80 outside. The beach monitoring program, which supports monitoring and assessment for coastal recreational waters to ensure that they are safe for swimming. In 2016, DEP received $263,000 to help put this program in effect, and we know that they are using it right now. That program will be completely eliminated. So that's just the eliminations. Then there are deep cuts to programs as well. In addition to eliminating those programs, the President's budget proposes deep cuts of 30% or more to most programs. And some of the ones that will have the most impact in New Jersey will include Superfund. New Jersey has 114 sites, the most Superfund sites in the country of any state. The proposed Superfund budget cut of 25% nationally from $1.07 billion with a B, will be cut to $746 million. It will lose 536 staff slots. Since New Jersey gets approximately 25% of the national budget, you do the numbers, we're talking about big losses, and this will have a devastating impact on the assessment and remediation of these toxic sites in our state. Separately from that, through the Performance Partnership Grant, try saying that 3 times quickly, New Jersey receives funding from EPA for site assessments to determine if they rank for Superfund listing. This is something, when I still worked at the Great Swamp Watershed Association, we worked hard. It took a long time. And there was a site next to Chatham Township that was, in fact, added, and appropriately so, to the Superfund site. If you're trying to get something near you in your neighborhood put on Superfund, that's no longer going to be possible. In 2016, DEP received $1.2 million for site assessments. So that too will also be cut. Brownfields. EPA provides funding for the assessment and cleanup of brownfields, which results in redevelopment, jobs, and improved quality of life in neighborhoods that are plagued by brownfields. A national cut of 30% is proposed for the program. Just to give you an example, in 2016, Atlantic City received 4 grants totaling $764,000. Plainfield received $400,000. Jersey City received $800,000. And Asbury Park got $400,000. The Wetlands Program. Well, right now, Governor Christie is doing his best to modify the wetlands rules with which we protect the wetlands in this state. Through a program that is devolved by EPA to New Jersey to manage. But they still provide funding for that program, the EPA does. Grants providing funding that support research and training related to causes, effects, and prevention of water pollution. In 2016, DEP and the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority received 3 grants totaling $641,000. A 30% cut is proposed to that. So I can go on. Diesel emissions reduction grants. Clean Water Act, Section 106 grants. Public water system supervision grants. Air pollution grants. The proposed budget cuts most programs by 30% or more. One example impacting New Jersey is with Section 105 Clean Air Act grants for planning and pollution control. In 2017, this year, DEP is receiving over $6 million for that program. Overall, the DEP anticipates receiving 11.6 million in air pollution federal funding for 17, but that's going to be cut 30% or more. Pesticide application enforcement and training, a cut of 39% proposed nationally. It's pretty depressing stuff. And it is going to have a huge impact on DEP. The commissioner has declined so far to share with the public how he proposes to handle this after the budget is already set in place. And the information that had been on the DEP's website to talk about their budget has been removed. So we do not any longer have the opportunity to try and figure out what the commissioner is going to do to figure this problem out and what he's going to recommend to the governor. So with that very depressing information, I'm sure they've probably recorded this program, so you can get your pens out and keep track of this and make notes and start bombarding your legislators. And we're not just talking about your state legislators, we're talking about your congressmen and your senators, because they're the ones who have to try and protect this funding for us. The president's budget is not set in stone by any means, and as Dave was talking about, Congressman Frelinghuysen in particular, as chair of the Appropriations Committee, is in a very strong position to try and help protect New Jersey from these devastating cuts. So thank you. I believe at this point we're going to open this to questions. And I know that some people had anticipated this and have already sent in some questions. So our wonderful facilitator is going to be sharing them with us. So I'll read them out, and especially with a climate-related gentleman, I'm going to turn to you to answer them. The first question is, what steps are being taken to pressure mayors and representatives to either join the Paris Climate Alliance or commit to the Paris Agreement in some way?